Okay, so let's solve this problem here. And it says, find a and b given that 2x squared plus 4x plus 5 equals ax squared plus 2b minus 6x plus c. So the first thing we can do here is just split apart the coefficients. So we see here that there's x squared here and x squared here. And here it says we have 2 and it equals a. So all we can just do is set a equals 2 because both of them have the same coefficients. And then let's do the same thing for x. So on the right side, x is the coefficient of x is 2b minus 6, and the coefficient of this equation here is 4. So we can just say 4 equals 2b minus 6. And we're not including the exponents. We're not including the variables because we're just taking the coefficients. So, and then the last one is 5, and these are both the constants, or the ones that don't have any variables attached. So we can just say 5 equals c. So we have every variable except for b. So all we can do now is just solve for b. So plus 6 on both sides. And we get 2b equals 10. So then b equals 5. And then they're only asking for a and b. So we just have to circle b equals 5 and a equals 2. Next question asks to just find a and all the zeros. So along with finding the unknown variable, we have to find the zeros of the equation as well. So they're giving us that 2x minus 3 is a factor of 2x to the 3 minus x squared plus ax minus 3. So what we have to do is find another expression that multiplies 2x minus 3 to get this. But obviously we can't do that because there's a unknown variable, or else we would have just divided this by this, or this by this. So then what we can do though is just, since we have 2x minus 3 here, and we have 2x to the 3, all we have to do to multiply 2x to 2x to 3 is just do x squared. And then we do plus. And now since all this stuff we can't really do because there's no x squared or ax or anything, we can just say this is as bx. And we don't know what bx is, but we can just set that to whatever this equals to make this multiply to make it this. And then we can say negative 3, what can we multiply negative 3 to get negative 3? Just 1, right? So that's why we just say plus 1. And now we have this, and now we can just multiply this together. So we get 2x to the 3, and then plus 2bx squared. And then we have 2x. And then we have negative 3x squared. And then negative 3bx minus 3. And then we can just put these together. So we have 2x to the 3. And then x squareds are... Okay, now since we have 2b and negative 3, we can't add them together, right? So what we're going to do is just group them together for now. 2b minus 3, and then multiply by x squared. And then now we add it, and for x we have 2x and negative 3bx. So we can't add those two either, so we can just group them for now. So 2 minus 3b x, and then negative 3 is by itself. And then we can set this equal to this now, because we multiplied by this. So we have 2x to the 3 minus x squared plus ax minus 3. Okay, so now again, 2x to the 3 is the same as 2x to the 3, so we can just say 2 equals 2. And then 2b minus 3x squared is this coefficient, and the coefficient of negative x squared is just negative 1. There's a negative 1 right there, because right there. And then we have 2b minus 3 equals negative 1. We're just setting the coefficients equal. And then for x, the coefficient is a here, and then the coefficient for x is 2 minus 3b here. So 2 minus 3b equals a. And then negative 3 is the same as negative 3. Okay, so now let's just solve for b here, because we can't solve for two unknowns. But we can solve for b here. So 2b, So we just add 3 on both sides, and then we get 2b equals 2, and then b equals 1. Okay? And then now we can just plug in b here to find this a value. So 2 minus 3 times 1 is just 3. So 3 and then equals a. So then a equals negative 1. Now we have a, but we still have to find all the zeros. So what we can do, finding the zeros of this would be a little more challenging because it's to the power 3. But what's easier is since we know this equals this, we can just find the zeros of these two. And we know b equals 1, so we can just do that. So let me just make a little section here. So we have x squared plus x plus 1. And now factoring this by hand is a little, you can't do it. So we're just going to use a quadratic formula. So x equals negative 1 plus or minus square root, and then 1 minus 4 times 1, so just 4, divided by 2. So that's just going to give you x equals negative 1 plus minus, remember, I root 3 divided by 2. And then we have to remember this one as well. So 2x minus 3, the roots of that is just 3 over 2. So 2x minus 3 equals 0. Oh yeah, this is also equal to 0. So then add 3 both sides. 2x equals 3. So then we get x equals 3 over 2. X equals 3 over 2. And then negative 1 plus minus I root 3 over 2, and a equals negative 1. Okay, so the next problem says we have to do, okay, so it says x plus 3 and 2x minus 1 are factors of 2x to the 4 plus ax to the 3 plus bx squared plus ax plus 3. And they're asking me to find a and b in all the roots. So first, like last time, let's multiply the roots together. So we have x plus 3 times 2x minus 1, and that's going to give us 2x squared, and then minus x plus 6x, so that's plus 5x, minus 3. Now, with 2x, x squared plus 5x minus 3, we have to find something that multiplies this to get this. So we're going to do, okay, so since it's 2x to the 4, we're just going to do x squared here, because that's what's going to make 2x squared into 2x to the 4. And then plus 5x, and since it's a, there's nothing that can make 5 to a unless we have an unknown variable. So let's just put it as c, because we already have a and b. So let's just make it c. And then negative 3 is, so we have to turn negative 3 into positive 3. So to do that, we just multiply by negative 1, because negative 3 times negative 1 is 3. So now if we multiply these two together, so we'll get 2x to the 4 plus 2cx to the 3 minus 2x squared. And then we have plus 5x to the 3 plus 5cx squared minus 5x. And then we have negative 3x squared minus 3cx plus 3. And then now let's organize this a little bit. So we have 2x to the 4 plus parentheses. And then we have 2c and 5. We can't add those two together, so we'll just separate them like this. 2c plus 5, x to the 3 plus, and then x squared is negative 2. We can add negative 2 and negative 3, so that's negative 5 plus 5c, x squared, and then negative 5 minus 3c, x equals, or plus, and then we do 3, equals, now this whole thing is going to equal our original equation. So we have 2x to the 4 plus ax to the 3 plus, and then x squared is attached to b, so bx squared plus x, and x is just a, so ax, and then plus 3, which is the same. Now we can set the coefficients equal to each other like last time. So we have 2 equals 2, and then we have, let's draw a line here. And then we have 2c plus 5 equals a. We have negative 5 plus 5c equals b. And then lastly, we have negative 5 minus 3c equals a, and then 3 is the same as 3. So we can't do anything by themselves in each of these equations, but what we can do is set this equation equal to this equation, because we have two equations that are equivalent to a. So if they're both the same as a, these are also the same as each other. So we can just say 2c plus 5 equals negative 5 minus 3c. And then if we add this, we'll get 10 equals negative 5c, and then c equals negative 2. And then now let's put it back into this equation to find a. So we have negative 5, and then negative 2 times negative 3 is 6, so plus 6 equals a, and then a equals 1. And then we can do the same thing to find b, so let's just put it in here. And then negative 5 plus c, or plus 5c, and c is negative 2, so negative 5. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10, so minus 10 equals b, so then b equals negative 15. So we now found a and b, so we can just circle these two. But we're not done yet. We still have to find all the roots. So let's just use these two to find the roots. So we have x plus 3 equals 0, and then x plus 3 equals 0 is where x equals negative 3, and 2x minus 1 equals 0 is where x equals 1 over 2. And then now, the last two roots we get from here, because that's what we multiplied to get this one in blue. So we can just use a quadratic formula. So x equals negative, and then we also know that we now know that c equals negative 2, so we can just put that here. Negative 2x. And then 4, or that's, negative, and then so 2 plus minus square root, so 4, and then this can be plus 4, because 4 times negative 1 is 4, and then divided by 2, and then this is simplified down to x equals 1 plus minus root 2. So these are the other two roots, because it's plus and minus. 1 plus root 2 or 1 minus root 2, negative 3, and 1 over 2. Those are the roots. And then a equals 1 and b equals negative 15. And c, they don't ask for it because we made it on our own, but c equals negative 2.